So as Glenn said, I'm the Puru, and I run an organization called the People's Own Organic Power Project, or the POOP Project. And we use art, education, and humor to heal the cultural shame that makes potty talk taboo in order to promote critical conversations about sustainable sanitation for the person, planet, and world community. Wow. What does it all mean? Yes, and thank you. Next. Okay. So, first of all, I just want to say I'm so glad that everyone here brought their bodies, because that's great. I feel like that's going to be really important for tonight in general. I see that's how you all arrived, was inside of them. And that's a beautiful thing. I feel like in our society, we tend to focus a lot about what happens from here up. We're a very up and in sort of culture. We don't like to think very much about what's down and out, so to speak. And I actually mean that in terms of class as well as bodily functions and other sorts of ideas. You know, we're defined as consumers, right? That is like how our value is actually measured in our society, is by how much we can take in. And we tend to be pretty focused on our incomes and on our inboxes and on our intakes, right? And we obsess over our food, whether it's like local, organic, sustainable. Do I know my farmer? Do I know where it was grown? Like, where'd you buy that? You know, is my lube organic? Like, this is a question apparently enough people are asking that they have now made a vegan organic lube, which is great. But I think we actually don't ask the question a lot of like, well, where does it all, once it comes in, where does it all go then? In fact, can I see a show of hands? Does anybody here know where their output goes? Other than like into the toilet? If you're lucky, right? Sometimes you're not that lucky. So let's say no. Just about, we don't know that. And it's not really our fault. To paraphrase Freud, modern civilization is founded on the need to deny, insofar as possible, this, what does he call it? This inconvenient trace of the earth. And if we look around us, our society has closeted off this part of ourselves. So it went from being something that 100 years ago you could walk down the streets of New York and be like, oh, look, there it is. And there would be a lot of it, right? So suddenly it goes underground. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You can just flush and forget. And it doesn't have to exist. And I would say generally this is the way we deal with most of our waste streams, right? Like, it's away. It goes somewhere else, and it's not my problem. And I actually think that this issue starts with the body. And if we can locate ourselves as the original source of that waste and begin to follow the trail, then we may actually be able to change the way we deal with everything we consume and everything we produce. Because I think in the end, we are both of these things. We are not just consumers. We are producers. So I'd like to bring that stuff into the room, take it out of the closet, lift the lid, so to speak. And I don't like it to be me who has the potty mouth, at least to start. So I would actually love to invite you guys in the next minute or so, maybe, to shout out any word you know that represents that stuff that comes out of our butts. No, it actually does. I don't know why I did that. I mean, hopefully, unless you have a colostomy bag, that's another show. So, so in the next minute, as many words as you can think of for the bodily function that dare not speak its name. Okay, go. Caca, great. What else? Shit, Crap, dookie. What was that? Feces, thank you. Duty, this is like mic check. Can I get a mic check on feces, please? What was that? I heard. Santorum. Santorum. Nice. Okay, metaphor. I like we're in the realm. It's not a metaphor. Oh, that's right. Okay, BM. Nice. We got some Jews in the house. Crap. Yeah. Number 2, stool. I heard. Yes. What else? Anything else? Excrement. Yeah. Oh, I'm like, great. Excrement. Love it. Yeah. What else? That's it? Really? No offense. I just mean like bowel movement. Okay, good. What?
There was a Spanish.
Pinch a loaf. Pinch a loaf. That's a whole phrase. There was a Spanish word. I hear mierda. Beautiful. We're translating into. We're multicultural. What was that? Diarrhea. Yeah. And that opens a whole nother vein. What was that? The runs. Yes. Good. What else? A deuce. A deuce. Drop it like it's hot. What else? Any more?
Dropping your kids off at the pool.
Dropping your kids off at the pool. What was that? Melana?
She's a nurse.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What does that mean? That's
Bloody poop.
a bloody poop. Oh, may none of us ever have to learn that word. I'm so sorry that happened here on my watch. Okay, we're going to cut it off with that one. With Melana. I learned something tonight, and that normally doesn't happen when we're talking about poop. I really mean that. And I think what we just did actually illustrates a number of interesting things. One is that because it's so repressed in our society, as soon as this, what is like potty talk, right, comes up to the surface, is instantly hilarious. Because we are the same as 2-year-olds, right, basically. Like, we still think these things are really funny when they're not making us cry because we didn't make it in time with the runs or something like that. But it also shows us that we have all of these, like, it's actually an incredibly rich vocabulary. It's like Eskimos to snow here, right? And we've got words for all sorts of different things. We have words that doctors and nurses might use, like melana. We have words that scientists might use, like excrement or stool. We have words that are more technical, like diarrhea, as opposed to the runs, which is more metaphoric, right? It indicates the sense. We have bowel movement, which is also, I would say, medical, but really doesn't actually indicate what's happening. It indicates the way the bowels are moving around the stuff that comes out. And then BM, which is a way of not even saying bowel movement, right? We call that a euphemism. We have, like, you've never heard of the word euphemism before. Sorry for talking down to my audience. But there's another word called dysphemism that I learned when I started studying this, which is a word that means like shit. We say shit because we actually want people to know how bad it is. So we could be like, oh, I just had to drop a deuce, which is also like very juvenile. Or we could be like, oh, I just took a shit. You know, and it indicates to us that, like, ugh. That was exactly it. So there's a Harvard linguist named Steven Pinker, and he has done a full category of all of these different words. And what we find is that we have words that serve in all of these different categories, except a neutral conversational term that you could, like, have at the dinner table. We have many different places where you can talk about poop in many different languages, but no word that kind of spans it, like sex, right? You can make love, you can fuck, you can have intercourse, or you can, like, be on the news and say, we have a sex scandal. But if it's poop, like, what do you say? You know, we have an excrement scandal, stool scandal, feces. It's like, it's all awkward, right? Which means that we have no ability to talk about this topic in a casual conversational manner. It has become so hidden from our society, it's not even in our language. But I think we actually have a lot of reasons to talk about poop. Because, you know, first off, with any luck, we're all doing it, hopefully at least, you know, once a day, 3 times a week. Everybody has a different system. And if we're not doing it, we should talk to that woman over there. Right? We live in a city that has no access to great public facilities. So if you're somebody out, I mean, how many people here know, like, 5 places at least in the city where they're like, oh, bingo, I can go there, right? Why is this the case? Why should we live in it? Why should we have bodies and live in a city that is inhospitable to our bodies? And then why should we be using a toilet that looks like this, which actually takes the bottom of your rectum and pinches it off, because the actual pooping position is in our squat, right? So we live in a city that is inhospitable to our bodies, using a toilet that is inhospitable to our bodies. Well, at the same time, we're cleaning ourselves with paper, right, which cuts down trees. Well, and we're kind of like smearing it around. Anybody have a kitchen? Anybody ever spill something on your counter and be like, wipe, it's clean? Well, we all know that's not really the case. So what if we used a little bit of water there, which is already embedded in the toilet paper, and then doesn't even begin to touch the idea that if we could, like, use a little water there instead of a huge amount of water to then put our shit into and send it far, far away and use a lot of energy and chemicals to get the poop back out of the water so that we can landfill it. When I would say that most of us probably know from any sort of basic science that shit is not just shit, it's the shit. right? It's actually gold. It's what our civilizations were founded on. Without the animals that they had domesticated to poop in their fields, they would never have been able to grow the food that we can grow. Yet instead of putting our shit on our fields, or even our animals' shit on the fields, the animals in factory farms, their poop is in manure lagoons, while our fields and our crops are fertilized with oil-based chemicals. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? No, it doesn't. And at the same time, our silence allows to continue an international sanitation crisis that affects 42% of the world, 2.6 billion people who are living right now without access to a safe toilet, which means that they're pooping someplace where that poop winds up getting back into their food, into their water, into their bodies somehow. This is a scourge that kills more children than HIV, malaria, and measles combined every year. And most of us have probably never heard of it because we don't like to talk about it. But maybe we should, right? So tonight, I actually want us to be mindful for a moment and really, instead of ignoring that part of ourselves, let's connect to it. As Glenn said, I'm a certified Puru, which means nothing. Actually, it's a name that I made up. But it means that I would like to lead you in a little meditation right now. So if you just want to like get comfortable, if you have something going on, I just want to take us on a little trip, okay? You want to take your shoes off, or, I like it. You have a strap. Okay, good. So first, just notice your breathing. In and out. Can you hear yourself breathing? Can you hear the people around you breathing? If you can't, please let us know, because that's probably a bad thing. Okay. So right now, your heart is pumping blood through your body, delivering oxygen to millions of tiny cells which process it and release carbon dioxide back out on your out-breath. Can you hear the breath of this urban organism that we live inside of? If you listen close, can you hear the trucks rattling across the bridges and the barges dropping off their supplies so that we, all of us tiny organisms, can process it and send other things back out on those same bridges and on those same barges? Everything you need to know about what it means to live a balanced life is happening right now, in the in and the out. So now, locate yourself inside of your mouth, tongue, teeth, lips. Imagine a cupcake. It's possible you've already begun salivating. That is the first step to digestion, is the desire, the image of. The saliva helps to break down those proteins. Your tongue and your teeth mash it up, send it to the back of your throat, and gulp. Hopefully not down the trachea, but down the esophagus, right, into the stomach, passing through little sphincters along the way, where it will join up with acids, going down into the small intestine, which is like 26 feet of tube, up the right side of your body, through the ascending colon, across the transverse colon, down the left side, through the descending colon, into the rectum, which alerts your brain that there are some kids who have to be dropped off at the pool. And hopefully you do that at the right time. Now, as long as we're down there, just take a moment and check in with yourself. How are your anuses doing today? They're feeling supple? Moist? Maybe a little itchy? Maybe some of us know we have to go a little easier on the curry now. That's good. It's important that we talk to these parts of our bodies because we may not be able to see them, but they're there and they're really important to take care of. Now, as long as we're down there, I want to ask us to do that little exercise that you do, where you squeeze the muscles like you're stopping your pee, a Kegel. I'm actually doing it right now. Are you doing it too? Yeah, let's see if we can do this all together. Ready? Hold on. I squeeze my hand. So let's go. Squeeze. Release. Squeeze. Release. Oh my God, this is amazing. You didn't know this would happen tonight, right? But it's like a little chorus of Kegels. Let's see. Hold on, squeeze. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Wow, you guys are, I feel like I need a cigarette now. That was really amazing. I'm really glad you did that with me. So I want to send us off with this idea that, you know, what we did was a little meditation, but really every time we go into this back room, right, it's basically a meditation. You're by yourself, you're doing some deep breathing perhaps, and you're focusing on the innate creative powers of our bodies, right, with the ability to check in with how you're doing. So I want to suggest that instead of flushing and forgetting the next time, what if we could change the way we look at this whole process? When I lift the toilet lid, I don't see waste. I see wasted opportunities. I see a world where our poop is put to work generating methane to power our homes and fertilizing our fields with old-fashioned cow pies instead of oil-based chemicals. I see a world where toilets create jobs for people in the city and no person ever has to wait in line at a Starbucks or shit between two cars again, which I know probably many of us have seen. And I see a world where a child doesn't die from diarrhea every 20 seconds because we're too scared of the topic matter to get into the game and talk about real solutions for these challenges. I think this world is actually really possible and it's really exciting, but we can't talk about it without talking shit. So with that, I hope you'll join me and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.